people who are looking at being an owner builder. Myself and my partner have actually been building now for around about 2 years or more. We purchased the property, and I think it took us about sort of 6 to 8 months in planning before we actually started building our shed. And we built the shed first so that we would have somewhere to keep all of our tools and everything on site. So here we go. I guess I should tell you a little bit about the way that we have sort of built our property, because it might be different for different people. So the way that we've done it is we've actually been able to be lucky enough to borrow money from friends and family to build ours. So we had a lot in savings ourselves, and then we borrowed a lot of money from friends and family, and then once we finish the house we'll be able to take out a bank loan and then pay back friends and, well, not even friends, just family, and just pay back our family, because I don't know how it is in other places in Australia or the world, but it's really, really difficult for owner builders to get a loan. So we sort of had to work around that, and that's the way that we've been able to do it. So yeah, like I said before, we've been really, really lucky. So I guess coming back to the tips for, you know, the way that like the things that I've found that have been really important for us in building our property was it took us a really, really long time to plan, and now I'm glad that we did take the time to come up with an awesome plan, because I just love the way that our house has come together, and I think it really gave us the opportunity to get a feeling for the bigger picture, which is really important, particularly when it comes to this stage, and it's all of a sudden you have to start thinking about furniture and how your colours are all going to tie in together and stuff like that. If you sort of started off with the bigger picture, then it gives you more of an idea of where you want to go. So yeah, I mean, we took a long time in planning our house, and I think we had 3 different drafts of architectural plans before we decided on this one. And I'm really glad we did, because I love the flow and everything of our house, and I love the 2 separate wings. We've got like the living, dining, kitchen wing, and then we have the bedroom and bathroom wing, and it's fun to say that we have wings as well. Makes us sound a little bit fancy. I guess that brings me to the next point, is that choose your design wisely. Yeah, get the advice of a good architect if you can. We were lucky enough to be able to use an architect from Cumulus Studio in Hobart, and they've just been great. We've had the architect's assistants the whole way through, and she's really been able to guide us along with, you know, just all of the bits and pieces, and draw up a lot of plans for us to just help us with exactly how we're going to put everything together. So that has been really, really beneficial. So yeah, choose your plan wisely, and choose your architect or designer or draftsman wisely as well, because it can make a huge difference. The next point, I've got them all on my iPad. My next point is, I guess it's more of a really personal one, and that's to make sure you have a really strong relationship with your partner that you're building with before you start. I think that if we were in any way unsure about what we wanted to get out of this project, or about how we felt about each other, or anything like that, I think that this build could have gone in a much different direction than it has done. But we've just been lucky enough that I guess my partner is really, really detail oriented, and I am a little bit more cruisy and more interested in the way things come together, like the bigger picture. Like, how is our kitchen going to look in the space, and how is our couch going to look with the floor and stuff like that. Like, that's what I'm more interested in, and he's more interested in, are the corners square? So that's been really good, because, you know, the areas that he's less interested in, I'm more interested in, and it's been really good for us working together, that we have the different parts that we're interested in. I guess that's another important thing is to be able to see the bigger picture. Like, you kind of need to almost sit down and really think about what you want to get out of the house and what you see all of your colours coming together like, and even do up mood boards. You see them on Pinterest all the time. Do up mood boards and just put all of your colours together and the couches that you like and the light fittings that you like, and put it all together into one thing so that you can see how everything's going to tie together, because otherwise you might not end up with like really cohesive rooms. It might be like one room you make warm and the next room you make cool and all of that kind of thing. So yeah, we've tried to unite everything and make everything just tie in really well together, hopefully. I guess it's really important, and I'm sure, you know, for everyone it's really different, but for us we had a rough budget of how much we wanted to spend to start off with, but we haven't, we got a quantity surveyor to do a plan of how much everything was going to cost with labour if we had it done by builders, and that was really good because it gave us a rough estimate of what everything was going to cost with or without labour, and then from there we were sort of able to budget and say, okay, we only want to spend this much. Now we have probably spent a bit more than we wanted to, so that's really important, is to say, okay, we only want to spend this much, but be able to spend a little bit more, because chances are you'll find beautiful timber that you want to use on your floor, and it'll be a bit more expensive than you wanted to pay, or you'll end up paying more than you thought you would for paint or something like that. There'll always be something, and you'll end up paying a little bit more for it unless you pick out everything perfectly to start off with, which is unlikely because there's so many little elements to it that you don't even think about before you start. So yeah, have a budget, but use it as a rough guide to guide you through the process of purchasing things. My next tip would be along the same lines of the budgeting. Keep track of what you're spending and where. So when we first started, I did up a spreadsheet, and throughout the whole process, I've tracked our spending using that spreadsheet. So every time we get an invoice or a receipt for something to do with the house, I enter it into the spreadsheet, and just a short description, what date we were invoiced for it, how much we spent, did we get a receipt, and what it was for, and where it was from. Yeah. And that's been quite beneficial to see, sort of, you know, so you can look back and you can say, oh, we actually purchased that back then and that's how much it cost us. I've kept every single receipt for everything that we've purchased, and I think that's really important, because, you know, if you need to look back and you need to see how much you spent on your dishwasher, or you need to see how much you spent on timber last time so you can get a quote for the next time you have to purchase timber from the same place, that's really good. That's a really good resource to have. My next tip would be make sure you stick to the standards of wherever you are. So in Australia, we have Australian standards, but then we are in Tasmania, so we might have slightly different standards for, I think, the distance that you need to have around a downlight, between the downlight and the insulation. That might be a little bit different, and different councils may even have different standards on, you know, where you have drainage around your property. So it's really important to be aware of those kind of things if you're owner builders, because it doesn't come naturally. It's something that you're going to have to research. We use Google a lot, and we also did purchase Australian standards for timber framing, because we did all of the timber framing, so we used the Australian Standards Manual as our guide. Okay, the next thing would be to don't underestimate the time that it's going to take you to do things. So you might think to yourself, laying the timber floor is only going to take 1 weekend, but really it's going to take 2 or 3. Pulling the tanks out from under the house so that we can put the new ones in when the first ones had lead in them is going to take a whole weekend. So just, have a think about how long you think that something's going to take, but then be prepared for it to take a lot longer, especially if you're going to do it all by yourself, which we've done for the whole time. The next thing would be to make sure you ask advice for people who might know more than you. If you do ask a few people for advice, it gives you a better average. So what we've done is we've got a few people who we get to help us and we ask for advice, but then in the end my partner basically chooses what he thinks that we should do because he's more technical, he's more of the technical side of things. That's been really, really good, but don't take what somebody else says as gospel. Think about it for yourself. What do you want to do? What do you feel comfortable doing? What do you think is going to be the highest standard that you could possibly do, I guess? And that brings me to my last tip, which is use YouTube. Use YouTube as a resource. We have YouTubed for everything. Laying timber floor, tile adhesive, grouting for the tiles, timber framing, how to make kitchens, how to fit the pieces together, just everything. So very, very important. I hope my tips help you. They're pretty generalised. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments and hopefully I'll be able to answer them for you. Keep in mind, I am in Tasmania. We might have a little bit different standards or advice or timbers or anything available to us here than you might have, but I'll do the very best I can. So I hope someone out there found this interesting. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye.